you a woman of faith who is struggling in your current season of life? Do you feel like life is just happening to you instead of for you? My name is Jill Pack. I'm a certified life coach and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I want you to know that no matter your season or circumstance, it is possible to create a more joyful life, and I would love to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go. Happy Tuesday, my friends. Welcome to the Seasons of Joy podcast. Now, before I begin, I wanted to remind you about my Seasons of Joy community. This is a small group coaching community that I just recently created. Last month, we discussed spring cleaning dirty pain. In May, we are talking about the season of abundance. And in June, we're going to be talking about the season of fun. On May 24th from 7 to 8 p.m., I'm holding a free Q&A call that will touch on abundance, and I will bring people on live to do some coaching. This is a great way to see how this community works and gives you an idea of what coaching looks like. If you want to learn more about this community or my Season of Joy one-on-one coaching program, I've included links to both of those in the show notes. This is episode number 9, titled Season of Abundance. Now, I wanted to start off by talking about scarcity, which is the opposite of abundance. Scarcity is a fear-based mindset. And I want to teach you about 2 core fears that we experience as humans. And these fears keep us from living from a place of abundance. Now, I want you to think about the last time that you made a mistake or that you said something that you thought was dumb. Do you remember this experience? Do you remember how you felt? Did you feel embarrassed? Author and life coach Kim Giles teaches in her book Clarity Point that we feel this way because these experiences trigger one of our deepest fears. And that fear is the fear of not being good enough. Do you see this in yourself? Now, there are times I believe that all of us don't feel capable or adequate enough. There are times that we believe that we aren't as good as other people. I believe that there's times when we're afraid that we're falling short in some way in our life. And I believe that there are times that we feel like we just aren't enough. There are many ways that we can fall short or fail. We can believe that we're not smart enough or pretty enough or thin enough or successful enough or brave enough or cool enough or fit enough. The list can go on, right? We can fail as a parent, or we believe that we can fail as a parent, a child, a spouse, a friend, a student, a neighbor, a member of our church. No matter how hard we try in one area of our life, we probably are falling short in another. And we just can't be enough to make this fear go away. Now, I believe that when we were children, we heard things from others, we learned things from others that sent us a message in 100 different ways. And the message is this, that we need to be different than we are, and who we are is not enough. And as we've grown up, this fear has grown into a fear of failure, a fear of looking bad, a fear of judgment. And as we've become adults, we fear being rejected or abandoned or unworthy of love. And every time we've experienced pain, disappointment, hurt, or shame, this fear gets bigger and stronger. And it hinders our ability to love, and it pushes our true divine self deeper and deeper down in order to protect us. This fear of failure shows up in many ways, and it shows up different for all of us. But this fear causes us problems, and it can drive unproductive and destructive behaviors, such as social anxiety, shyness, or showing off, or insecurity, or trying too hard to get it noticed, or being overly defensive or protective. Or it can hold us back from taking risks, learning new things, or making decisions. For me, this fear showed up in my life in the area around my appearance, my physical appearance. I had this belief for a long time that somehow I wasn't good enough because of the number that was on the scale or the size I wore. This belief, this fear of not being enough, held me back from participating in my life at different times of my life. There were times that I avoided situations that I believed would put unwanted attention on my body. And there were times I wouldn't fully engage in activities with friends and loved ones because I felt embarrassed and ashamed. I ask you, how has this fear cost you? Has it stopped you from living fully? Is it stopping you from creating joy in your life because you're worried about what other people think of you? Is it preventing you from reaching out or connecting with others? And does it make you feel scared to do things that you really want to do? Can you think of one way that you see this affecting your life? And is it affecting you from creating more joy? The second fear that I want to talk about, the second core fear that we experience daily, is the fear of loss, or this fear that your life isn't going to be good enough. This includes the loss of money, reputation, security, control, loved ones, respect, opportunities, and validation from others. This fear showed up in my life in my relationships with my adult children. Now, their choices were different from what I had taught them growing up. And I had this belief that my life would be better if things were different, if they would choose differently, and that they needed to change so that I could be happy. And it affected the way I showed up in those relationships, which were often from a place of frustration and self-pity. Now, we can spot this fear of loss in ourselves by noticing when we're afraid of being taken advantage of or walked on, or we believe we aren't getting our fair share of what we need or deserve. Or we may notice that we feel mistreated often, or we believe that we're insulted by other people on a regular basis. Or we may feel this need to control other people or situations in order to feel safe. Or we may feel scared about losing people in our lives, or that we might not have enough of what we need or enough money. Once we recognize this fear in ourselves, this fear of loss, that our life is not enough, then we want to notice how we treat others when this fear is triggered. Are we trying to control or manipulate others? Are we easily offended? Are we overly emotional or overly reactive? This fear of loss, can cause issues in every area of our lives. But there's good news. If you're experiencing these fears, nothing is wrong with you. You're perfectly normal. Congratulations, you are a human. The human brain is wired for what scientists call negative bias. Now, this wiring is what kept our ancestors safe from known and unknown dangers since the beginning of time. This is something we have continued to carry with us, the survival brain, which is always looking and making risk assessments. Now, this isn't a problem. We just need to understand our brain and practice managing it and the stories it's offering us that are holding us back from creating a more joyful life. Most of the choices we make are driven by the need to quiet these two core fears. Again, Kim Giles refers to them as the fear of failure and the fear of loss. And again, I'm going to refer to those two fears as scarcity. Now, scarcity keeps us in this fight or flight or even freeze mode, right? It's restrictive and it prevents us from accessing our prefrontal cortex. And this causes us to make errors in judgment. That primitive brain, that survival brain takes over, and it doesn't allow us to access our creativity, our ability to solve problems, or our intention, right? We operate out of fear, and it takes over our ability to reason. Now, this is the opposite of abundance. abundance is a growth mindset and it's expansive. I'm going to share with you 8 strategies that I believe will help you move towards creating a more abundant life. And again, this is opposite of that scarcity mindset. It's an abundant, expansive mindset. And if you'll apply even just one of these strategies, I believe that you will notice more abundance in your life. So number 1, stop comparing yourself. We need to stop comparing ourselves with others, other people and their results. We are each unique and different and one of a kind, and that is beautiful. None of us are meant to be exactly the same. So why are we comparing? I believe that this is probably one of the first and most powerful steps we can take if we can stop that comparison with others. Number 2, expand your vision. I invite you to look to the future instead of the past to determine what you're capable of. If we always go to the past to get an idea of what is possible, we'll never create something new. We will continue to create more of the same. We have to expand our vision to the future and look at the possibilities and opportunities that are available and access those capabilities and those opportunities. Number 3, shorten your lens. This means remembering that what you want and need is not dependent on what is happening around you, and especially on a larger scale. You can create happiness and abundance and joy from within you, and it doesn't matter what is happening out there on a larger scale. It's possible to create those things, those emotions in your life from within, which is the best news ever. It doesn't depend on anybody else but you. You have the power to create it. You just need to shorten your lens. Number 4, don't take things personally. It isn't about you. Our brains want it to be about us. That's what they're designed to do. But if we can slow it down and remember that it isn't about us, we don't have to make anything mean anything about us. And which leads me to number 5. When we can remember our worth, if we'll remember our worth and our value and remember that we don't earn it, we're born with it. We were designed and created by the ultimate creator. And we are amazing, and we had nothing to do with it. Number 6, the power of and. As human beings, we have the ability to access the power of and. So many of us believe that we're either amazing or a mess, and it is time to embrace a different conjunction. We need to move from or to and. We need to realize that we are amazing and a mess, and we need to embrace all of it. Once we can embrace our weaknesses and our strengths, we actually invite more abundance into our lives. Number 7, practice making decisions from abundance and expansion. Again, it just takes practice, one decision at a time. Practicing it from a place of abundance, realizing that there is enough, more than enough for all. And finally, number 8, practicing gratitude. One of my coaches, Jody Moore, has said, gratitude and generosity are the parents of abundance. I love this so much. When we can invite gratitude for what we have and generosity around what we can give and share with others, actually invites abundance into our lives. It's a beautiful thing. And finally, those are the 8 strategies that I wanted to share with you that I believe will help you create more abundance in your life. And what if everything is rigged in your favor? What if everything is designed for your good? What if that's true? And not just my good or your favor or my favor, but for everyone in the story. What if that's possible? That there is more than enough love and kindness and gratitude and goodness? What if there is enough? What if there is more than enough? I invite you to take action from a place of abundance. I want to thank you for listening. And if you like what you hear, I would love it if you would share it with your friends and family and leave me a review. If you want to learn more about what life coaching is, please feel free to schedule a discovery call with me where we can work together through something that's causing you a problem. Just go to seasons-coaching.com, and you can also learn more about my Seasons of Joy one-on-one coaching program and my Seasons of Joy community there as well. I hope you have a joyful week, and I'll see you next time.